G'day guys, how's it going? I'm Aaron Whitnall, this is ACWSport, and here are my Premier League predictions for weeks 21 and 22 of the 2017-2018 Premier League season. As I said in my review video from the other day, the reason why I'm doing these 2 weeks together is because over the New Year period, the games come so thick and fast that it's kind of impossible to get a review video in between all of the fixtures taking place. So I'm going to do these together, and then once they've all been played out, I'm then going to do a big review video of these 2 weeks entirely. But we're going to start with week 21 and how I think these fixtures are going to go down. Starting with the game towards the bottom of the Premier League now, because of the fact Watford have been struggling a little bit recently. Watford and Swansea, I think this will be a fairly easy win for Watford. I'm going to go 3-1 because they're at home. Swansea for me are as good as down. I just don't see how they're going to get out of trouble. And the fact that Watford turned it around against Leicester last week means they've kind of got their season back on track. It was a big win for them. So I see Watford winning that game. Then to Huddersfield, who face a very in-form and very tricky Burnley game. For me, I don't see either team losing this game because I think Huddersfield are very good at home, but Burnley have been very good away. I just see them both being very stubborn. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this game here, and I think both teams will be fairly satisfied with a point each. Like I said, because Huddersfield have been so good at home, but Burnley have been unbelievable so far this season. Then to Bournemouth, who host Everton in an intriguing tie because Bournemouth in their last game at home played out a thriller with West Ham. Let's hope we get a game that's just as entertaining. Obviously, Everton unbeaten under Sam Allardyce since he took over. And again, I just don't see either team losing this game. I think Bournemouth at home are always that little bit stronger, but Sam Allardyce has got a real stubbornness about this Everton side, and I just don't see them bowing down. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in that game as well. I'm going to say Callum Wilson will get a brace for Bournemouth, and I think Sigurdsson and Nias will score for Everton in that game. Then to Newcastle, who host Brighton at St James's Park. I just think because Newcastle are at home, they'll edge this, especially after their big win away at West Ham. All right, they didn't beat Man City, but who has? And Brighton, they're just not as good away from home as they are at home. So that's why I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Newcastle. I'm going to back Atsu and Gale or Shelby to get on the score sheet for Newcastle in that game. Then to Liverpool, they host Leicester at Anfield in what is a game that always produces goals. I'm going to go for a 4-2 win for Liverpool in this match because Liverpool have been so attacking at Anfield this season. 4 and 5s everywhere. Can be a little bit leaky at defence. And I think Leicester have got good enough attack to really penetrate that. Mahrez has been in fantastic form since Puel took over. Really revitalised. So has Vardy a little bit. So I'm going to back those two to score for Leicester. But for Liverpool, I'm going to back Salah to get a brace in this game. I'm also going to back Oxlade-Chamberlain to get on the score sheet. And I'm going to back, this is a tough one, Mane to get on the score sheet for Liverpool as well. So tough out of their Fab Four to leave Coutinho and Firmino out, but I just think that's who will score this week. Then to Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea host Stoke. I just see this being a comfortable 2-0 win for Chelsea, just because Stoke have had a pretty average season. Chelsea are just quietly going about their business. I'm going to back Morata to get a brace in that game for Chelsea over Stoke. He scored a hat-trick against them at the Britannia, so I just reckon he'll keep up his good goal-scoring run against them. Then to Old Trafford, Man United desperate for a win after what was a terrible week, which saw them draw twice in the Premier League and lose to Bristol City in the League Cup. Ooh, awkward. But no, I see them getting back to winning ways. I'm going to back Jesse Lingard to get on the score sheet because he's been in such good form. I'm going to back Martial and Rashford to get on the score sheet as well, and United to run out 3-0 winners. I'm tempted to go 4 and say Lukaku will score, but I'm going to stick with the 3-0 for now, so we'll just have to wait and see. Then Manchester City, they travel to Selhurst Park to take on Crystal Palace, and I just see this game being very similar to when Palace played Arsenal during the week. I'm going to go for a 3-1 City win. I'm going to back Zaha or Townsend to get on the score sheet for Palace. I'm going to back Gabriel Jesus to get a brace and Sergio Aguero to get on the score sheet for City. And then to Wembley, where Tottenham host West Ham. This is a bit of a weird fixture because it's actually being played after the Week 22 fixtures, even though it's a Week 21 fixture. Not sure why, but that's happening. But West Ham, they've been very good under David Moyes. All their games have been very tight. And I see this again being a tight game. I'm going to back Ayew to score for West Ham because he likes a goal against Spurs. But I'm going to actually back Harry Kane and Dele Alli to score for Tottenham and give Tottenham a 2-1 win at Wembley. So that is how I see those games finishing up for week 21. Here's how I think it will go for week 22. Starting at Brighton, they host Bournemouth. And even though Brighton have been good at home, they struggle to score goals. Whereas Bournemouth even though they also went for a period where they struggled to score goals, have scored, if all the predictions and fixtures go the right way, quite a few goals in the last few games. So I honestly think, because of Bournemouth's strike force, and I think the fact it's better than Brighton's, could sneak a 2-1 away win here. I'm going to back Wilson and Josh King to get on the score sheet for Bournemouth. I'm going to back Hammett to score for Brighton, but overall for it to be 2-1 to Bournemouth in that game. Then to Burnley, they host Liverpool in a massive game at Turf Moor, and Burnley always comes so close when it comes to the big teams. But in the end, just don't quite have enough quality to take them down. I think it will be the same here. I know obviously they picked up a big win at Chelsea on the opening week, but they've got draws since, unless obviously they played Tottenham or Man City, in which they were beaten in the scoreline you predict. I just think Liverpool have just got too much of a good attack for them to really cause Liverpool too many problems from a winning standpoint. So I'm going to go Burnley 1, Liverpool 2 in this game. I'm going to back Chris Wood to score for Burnley, but I'm going to back Mohamed Salah and Mane. I think this will very much be a counter-attack game, and that's why I'm going to say those two will score for Burnley. This might be Virgil van Dijk's debut as well. So yeah, that's how I see that game going down. Then to Stoke, whether it's the Britannia or Bet365 Stadium, I'm not sure, but I know it's the Britannia, so I'm going to call it the Britannia. But yeah, Stoke, they host Newcastle, and again, Stoke, for me, they've had a pretty average season. Newcastle have struggled recently, but they've picked up some big wins and decent results recently. So I'm going to back Newcastle to get a 2-1 away win in this game. I'm going to back John Joe Shelvey and Dwight Gale to score again for Newcastle. And I'm going to back either Joe Allen or Choupo-Moting to score for Stoke in a 2-1 away win for Newcastle. Then to Leicester, they host Huddersfield, and the fact Huddersfield are playing at home means that I think Leicester will win this game. I'm going to back Riyad Mahrez to get a brace in that game there, the Potter to score for Huddersfield. Then to Everton, they host Manchester United in the biggest game, well, one of the biggest games of this week. It's the big game on kind of New Year's Day. Because Sam Allardyce has really got Everton sorted out defensively, Jose, as we know, has got United organised pretty well when it comes to defensive work. However, because they're at Goodison, I just think it'll be a real tricky tie for United to break Everton down to a point where they'll win. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this. I'm going to predict Wayne Rooney to score against Man United and Lukaku to score against Everton. How awesome would that be as a story? So that's how I'm going to say that will play out. Again, it'll be a disappointing draw for United, but Chelsea went there, couldn't get a win. Everton went to Anfield, denied Liverpool a win. They're just well organised, and that's why I think United will struggle. Then to Southampton, who host Crystal Palace. And as we know, Southampton, they just really struggled to score goals. They've just sold their best defender. They're struggling defensively. For me, they're going to get really sucked down into that relegation battle. And I think Palace have got better players. And that's why I'm going to say that Palace will run out 2-1 winners. I'm actually going to back Shane Long to score, even though he hasn't scored in a very long time. I think he will break his duck against Crystal Palace at home. But in the end, I think that it will be a Christian Benteke double that brings down Southampton. And then on to Swansea, they host Tottenham. And again, I just see this being a very easy win for Tottenham. I'm going to go 4-0. I'm going to back Harry Kane to score a hat-trick. And I'm going to back Son to also get on the short score sheet for Spurs. Then to Upton Park, a few seasons ago. The London Stadium, West Ham hosting West Brom. I think West Brom will finally score under Alan Pardew. Rondon will get an away goal, that is. Gareth Barry or Rondon will score for them. But in the end, I just think West Ham got too much power. I'm going to back Javier Hernandez. I'm going to back Ayew. And I'm also going to back, this is a tough one, Arnautovic to score for West Ham. In a 3-1 win there, and a big win for West Ham that will take them a little bit clearer of the relegation zone. Then to the Etihad, where Manchester City host Watford. I just see this being an easy 4-0 win for Man City. They love to play against Watford, always score. I'm going to back Kevin De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling to get a double, and Sergio Aguero to score for Manchester City in that game. And then finally to the biggest game of the New Year's period at the Emirates, Arsenal versus Chelsea. Tough game to call. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this. I'm going to back Morata and Hazard to score for Chelsea. I'm going to back Alexis Sanchez and Lacazette to score for Arsenal in what I just think will be a real thrilling game. That's how I see those 2 weeks playing out. Please comment below. Let me know. Do you agree with my predictions? What are your predictions? As always, I'm really interested to find out. I'm going to be back with my review very, very soon. And also, my FA Cup predictions start as well. So please stay tuned for them or keep an eye out for them. As always, I've been Aaron Whitnall. I'll see you guys again soon. I hope you had a fantastic new year. And let's hopefully have an awesome 2018.